Hello. What's up, everybody? It's Francisco here. Sports Goofs watch stream. First one we've done in a long time. Oh, let me lower this. Let me lower this TV here. Real low there. So I don't know if Charles Senpai will join us, but I'm gonna tell him right now. Right now. Getting the whole setup ready. I have no idea what's going on, but we'll see what goes down. We'll see what goes down. So I saw some sort of, hey, look at that, Zion Williamson on the horn there. And I've got different commercials running right now. So I've got like.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games.
So Charles Senpai is watching NXT at this moment. This guy is calling out Jericho. What?
Winter Games.
What is? What is that? So this guy just said he loves Puerto Rican food. I don't know what's happening. I got Mario and Sonic here on the screen here, and I'll play some little hockey right now, but
Select character.
what is happening? This man is talking to a drone. They're gonna battle in a house? Yeah, this man is just. I have no idea what's happening, but it's happening, apparently.
Mario. Let's do this.
Oh, that hurt. Dear Lord. He's a massive dude. Yikes. Yikes. Sheesh, that was fast. Dear Lord. That was very, very quick work. Sheesh. Alright, so now we've got Mario Sonic here. Let's see, we've got a...
First period start.
Charles is saying that this man used to be Luke Harper, I guess, back in WWE, I'm assuming? I'm assuming. So that's a save there by Peach. Back to Vector. Vector bringing it back to Dr. Eggman. Eggman to Bowser Jr. I take the block shot right there. Daisy to me, back to Daisy. Bowser Jr. with a hit. Mario with a shot. I couldn't get to the puck. Mario taking another shot, blocked by Vector. And oh, Mario with the goal right there. It is 1-0 me. 1-0 me. Alrighty. It looks like my preview is over here on. Let's see. Can I sign in? Can I sign in? Is it possible to sign in? I don't think I can get it to pop up. So, whoa, Dr. Eggman. I forgot we were playing. Let's see. I take a hit right there. Mario off to Peach and Vector bringing the puck up the ice is Eggman. Knuckles with the save. I get the puck now. Try and bring it up the ice. Pass to Mario. Mario gets it over the blue line. Block shot by Eggman. Trying to set up a block shot by Vector. Dr. Eggman up there. He's got a breakaway a bit right there, but he takes a shot. Knuckles there. I'll take one last shot at Peach, and the period is over. So it's 1-0 me at the moment. Okay, hope everybody's doing well in this quarantine. We had our 59th episode of Sports Goofs yesterday. We had some fun there. Charles and with some help with Andrew there is a recap of WrestleMania 36. Now I've got the puck now. I'll take a shot here. Peach with the save. He's very tall, so she can get up there. Eggman bringing it all the way, takes it by himself and takes a shot. Nothing there. I bring it. Freaking back to Knuckles there. Try to do a little something there. Let's see. And once again, something again. That doesn't work. Off the boards there. Back to Mario. To try and get it over the blue line. I take the shot there. Peach. with the save. Vector bringing it up back to Eggman. Eggman's going to take a shot there. Knuckles with the save. And Dr. Eggman just tied the game right now. 1-0 on a very, very special shot there. Oh well. Oh well. Alright. So let's get back to it now. Bowser Jr. up. Block shot by Daisy. Mario bringing up the ice. Back to Daisy. There's no offsides here. Eggman with the steal. Eggman bringing up the ice here. Now Knuckles with the save there, but can barely handle it. I get the block shot as well. Trying to help Knuckles out. Knuckles with the clean glove save there. Off the boards. 6 seconds left in the period. Mario with the shot. Take the shot. Peach with the save. And we're going to head down into the second intermission. Second intermission now, and not making any changes here. There's an old man on the screen now. Here, so we'll try to figure it out what's going on here. I can't. I have a service provider. I can't log it in to this. Probably gonna have to find some workaround here, but oh well. Yeah, Freddy, this ain't wrestling. I was watching it and I am still watching. I'm watching AEW right now on the screen here. There's a guy, I guess a kind of bit of a recap going on at this moment, but playing a little hockey on the side. Mario and Sonic hockey because I'm bored and there's nothing else on. Yes. Oh, okay. What's up? Yeah. Yeah, and I just showed up too. I think this thing started at 8, and I came in here like at 9:10, 9:20. I haven't been on very long. Oh, Mario! Look at that. Gets it right past Peach. It's 2-1 now. Let's look at this. Ooh, he just beat her. He just beat her on right there. Don't take that out of context, but yeah, he just freaking just got it past her. All right, Knuckles with the save and bounce it off the boards here. And I tried to freaking dump the puck, and Eggman with the fuck. Vector right from the blue line gets it way past Knuckles. And now we got Cody versus Sean Spears at the moment. So I'm gonna send that to Charles just to show what's going down here. Oh, let me get back here into the play. Poke check. Gets the puck off of Daisy's stick there, but I'm going to bring it up the ice, and I'll dump the puck, see if Mario can get to it, and he does. And he makes initial save by Peach, and Vector clears that puck. Knuckles with the save there. Daisy coming up the ice. I get it. See if I get the shot. Peach with another save. She fights that off. And come on, Daisy, just shoot the freaking thing. Just shoot it. Just shoot it. Oh! And we're going to go to overtime now. 2-2. Heading into the overtime period at the moment. And we've got Cody versus, so this is for the TNT Championship Tournament, aka a television title. As Charles has said right now, we've got Cody versus Sean Spears. And let's see. I'll pass, and Bowser Jr. must broke up that pass. Oh, and Daisy gets it past Peach, and we have a victory. All right. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I can put this on the TV screen. Not my, well, I have it on my TV screen on the frickin' the stream here, but the American Nightmare. That's what Cody is going by as his nickname, I guess. Oh, he's that guy with the awful tattoo that Charles was talking about in an episode. we got the announcer calling Cody a piece of trash. Let's see if I can find a way to get the thing on the screen here. That is an awful neck tattoo. So let's see. The wrestling match has started. Cody's just kind of they're kind of just circling each other at this moment, trying to find an opening here. And there's the initial grappling at this moment, and Mr. Spears here is up, and now Cody's brought it back, and he's gotten him in the up, and that's trying to pin him already. That was fast. Nothing right now. That's one. And, okay. The announcers are kind of funny to me right now. Freddie, Canada Hockey Place is the it is the name that, because at the time in Vancouver their arena was called the GM Place, like General Motors Place, and I think per Olympic rules you can't have a name sponsor for the venue. I don't know, the Olympics are weird with regards to like sponsorship and all that stuff, even though they're sponsored to heck anyways. But, or I guess you can't have non-official Olympic sponsors have their name plastered anywhere on the Olympics, so they had to temporarily call the Vancouver Canucks home arena the Canada Hockey Place instead. So it's just a weird Olympic thing. Now it's called the, is it the Rogers Arena? Well, the Rogers Center is the Toronto Blue Jays home stadium. I think Rogers Arena is I think it's now the Rogers Arena. I think that's what it's called. And I think the Rogers Place is the home arena of the Edmonton Oilers. Canada's weird. I've never heard of a stadium called a place, but I mean, technically, during the Olympics, it was Canada's hockey place, even though there's tons of Canadian hockey places, if you really think about it. Yeah, it's just a weird thing. I'm trying to find a way to get this thing on the bottom corner there of the screen. See if I can pop that over, but having a bit of trouble trying to get it on the screen. So let's see. It's asking me for a sign-in. I do have one. I have Xfinity, so let's see if it'll work this time. What's up, Pumpkin Doubloon? Lions play at the BC Place. That's true. Yeah, they do play at the BC Place, which is, I think, right next to the Rogers Arena. Actually, if I let me finish this hockey match here, and I can show you the. This is one of the more interesting Mario and Sonic games. I think it's the best one out of all of them, to be honest. And it's not just because I'm a massive hockey fan, and this is probably one of the better, simple hockey games that you can play out there. Like, if you just want some quick, dumb fun, this is probably it. Surprisingly easy to control, very tight controls as well. So I'm surprised they put this much effort into a hockey game. between Mario and Sonic, but yeah, lo and behold, we're here, and it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good. Um, so let's see if we can get this thing back on the screen here. Oh, they're asking me for login again. I just logged in and just told me I logged in. Forget it. All right. Well, I'm watching it on TV, so everybody else knows that. But one of the cool things about this game was they had like a very shallow but kind of extensive story mode where you can go through all the Olympic events and basically play an entire Olympic schedule from day one to day whatever, however long the Olympics last. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty darn cool. And they have like 3D renderings of the venues, and so when they show the hockey stuff, you can see the BC place as one of the things rendered around it. So it's pretty accurate and kind of surreal, thinking like Mario and Sonic playing in real world locations. And well, I mean, it's technically, and I said this on the show before, because the Summer Olympics were pushed back to 2021. Technically, the only ones that were able to play in the Tokyo 2020 Olympics were the Mario and Sonic characters. And it's true. In the year 2020, those are the only ones to have played in it. I guess yay video games, yay. I guess that's a victory, and also kind of sad. Sheesh, Daisy, come on. All those shots you couldn't, like, at least shake up Waluigi in that. There we go. Let's see, I'll dump the puck in, and then nobody can get to it. Alright. And Knuckles, nobody gets to it. Ah, poke check. Get it on net there. 3 seconds left. Whatever. But yeah, so I listened to, today, I listened to our Lord and Savior Derek Jeter on the Marlins radio podcast. Kind of one of the few, I mean, I haven't really listened to much sports radio or anything because I can't even imagine what those guys are doing to try and keep things fresh. But listen to come on, Knuckles. Ooh. Top shelf there from Tails. We're down 1-0 now. Derek Jeter talking about what's going on, especially some of the questions that they asked were about the recent proposals, rumors that are going around, speculation of the Major League Baseball season starting in May, but shipping it all 30 teams to Arizona to play out the schedule or whatever weird schedule they would make, just to have baseball playing. The 8 expansion teams. Yeah, so, and we can talk about that later too, about proposals of expanding the NFL to 40 teams, which I think 5 Points Vids on YouTube has made 2 videos, one being a proponent for 40 teams and how that would work and how it would be a good idea, and then another one being against 40 teams and how it wouldn't work and how it would be a bad idea. But as far as baseball, freaking 30 teams playing out, and there's 15 teams that usually play out their schedule in their spring training schedule in Arizona. I think some of them share facilities, so there's probably about maybe 12 spring training complexes in the Arizona area, I guess, especially around Phoenix, that area, because that's where they're all near. But what was it? And I guess Chase Field in which is the Arizona Diamondbacks' home, would be used too. However, one of my issues, and it's something that people brought up immediately, is like, you're going to play regular season Major League Baseball games in Arizona during the summer without shade or air conditioning. Absolutely insane. I don't know. I would be completely, if I was a player, I'd be against that immediately. I've been to Arizona during the summer. It is absolutely unbearable to be outside at any time of the day. At any time. Peak hours, don't even try. At night, it is still miserable. It is still 100 degrees outside. Like, I don't know how they can propose that. I can get playing mini games at Chase Field because that's a controlled climate, Major League Baseball facilities, that type of thing. And it's an artificial turf, so they don't have any issues with regards to the playing surface. But having all the other spring training complexes in on it, I don't see how that's going to happen. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if Arizona even has any minor league teams, to be honest. I don't think any minor league teams even play. Probably the only teams that would play are the college teams, Arizona State or Arizona or whatever other college baseball schools are in Arizona. But I could see this. And this is the proposal that I had. And of course, Andrew came up with his rebuttal, which are valid points too, with regards to having teams, the Florida teams like the Rays or the Marlins hosting games for the rest of the major league teams. But I could see Arizona as the venue for the 15 teams that do play in the Cactus League. They're already there. They have their complexes there, so if they need like practice facilities and all that stuff, they already have them. And then they just play the actual regular season games at Chase Field. And then the Grapefruit League teams would probably play out either at Tropicana Field or Marlins Park. I'm biased with regards to Marlins Park because it'd be nearby, and that even though I wouldn't be able to go to the games, like I'd be familiar with the area and what have you. But Tropicana Field, I could see, as Andrew pointed, a viable venue because it has a roof. It's a ugly stadium, but it has a roof. It has, I guess, Major League Baseball facilities, even though Marlins Park probably has better facilities than they do. But the proximity to most of the Grapefruit League teams is probably what will what will be an advantage to Tropicana Field in Tampa, because the Yankees play their spring training schedule in Tampa. The Rays play at Port Charlotte, but of course their home is in St. Petersburg. The Red Sox and the Twins are in Fort Myers, which isn't too far from Tampa. Maybe about 3 hours up north, 3 or something like that, maybe. Phillies are in Clearwater. The The Tigers are Lakeland. I mean, Bradenton is the Pirates. Dunedin's the Blue Jays. There's just a bunch of teams. Sarasota has the Orioles and the Braves. So just a ton of teams there. But of course, that's not fair for the teams on the east coast of Florida. That would be the Marlins, the Cardinals, the Mets, the Nationals, and the Astros. So maybe a possibility of 3 venues. So you could have Chase Field, Marlins Park for the teams out here, and Tropicana Field for the other teams over there. And would probably ease up the schedule for Tropicana Field too. Just to have another venue there. Another thing and one of the things Andrews has said is that, well, Florida is kind of a hotbed for the virus right now too, because it's spreading and we don't know. I mean, these are going to be the peak weeks, so we'll see how things go. But one of the other ideas I floated is like Milwaukee. Basically, any team that has a retractable roof ballpark is fair game to host these, because you don't want rain delays, especially with a tight schedule. You just want the games to be played, and that's it. So all the retractable roof ballparks, I would probably not have Toronto, because you have the logistics issues of customs and stuff, teams having to stay in Canada for an extended period of time and that type of thing. Just a logistical thing. It'd be easier for teams to be out in the United States rather than Canada. So that would be Miller Park in Milwaukee, or American Family Field, whatever the frick they're calling it now. You've got Marlins Park, Tropicana Field, Minute Maid Park in Houston, Globe Life Field in Arlington, and Chase Field in Arizona. I think those are all the. Oh, and T-Mobile Park in Seattle. Those will be the only venues that would be viable there. I mean, Seattle is also kind of a hotbed at the moment, so I guess to avoid a lot of people, I get Milwaukee for the Eastern teams and Arizona for the West teams. Maybe, I don't know. Or American League and the American League in one, and the National League in the other. And then there's no Interleague, and then the World Series played at a neutral venue in Texas. That could be a thing. And then you have the other logistical stuff, which is the games themselves, because you're going to have a tight schedule. You're going to have all these teams sharing the same venue. So you have to make rules in order to get all these games in. You'd have to have a time limit or an inning limit. And if that's the case, then you have to start thinking about having a tie. Now, there are ties in the NFL. There are ties in soccer, obviously. And the NHL used to have ties. So then you'd have to think, okay, well, how are we going to do this? Do you go to a point system like soccer and hockey? So you have all those questions to think about too. Those are the things that you would have to, of course, float all of that by to the Players Association and the owners themselves to see if they even want that type of thing. If you want baseball to be played, like the only money they would be even making is from advertisers. There would be no money being made for ticket sales and concessions and stuff, and merchandise sold at the ballparks. But is it worth it? Is it worth doing it that way? That was one of the things I think Dark Sage, who came on with a valid question with regards to the Masters being played in November. It's, do you want to compromise your traditions for that? And baseball will probably still have the World Series in October, but it would be very, very different. Now, of course, things haven't always been the way they are now in sports. Lots of rule changes, especially in the early days. especially in the early days, lots of the things in the early days, things were kind of sometimes it seemed like they were just making stuff up on the fly, and a lot of times they were. So you know, it's that. I mean, what is going on with Cody Rhodes right now? Oh, okay. So he was. Wow, Sean Spears. What is he doing? Hold on, hold on. I gotta take this picture for Charles and see. Okay. Oh no. Why is he taking so long? Uh. Oh no. And all right. Okay. Back to this conversation here. Let me pass the puck over to Mario. And Yoshi with the save there. Amy Knuckles with the save there. He had to fight it off though. Mario with the block. Amy with the puck now. I get a block in front. Mario bringing it up to Daisy. Daisy to me. I take the shot. Yoshi with the save. Trying to get a rebound off of that, but couldn't. So Sonic is up now. Passes it back to Blaze. Blaze to Amy. Amy with a hard shot to Knuckles. That nicked them up a bit. Let's see. And I try. Oh, and I beat Yoshi top shelf. There we go. All right. Okay. Back to it now. What was I talking about? Baseball. Oh yeah, the tradition, that type of stuff. Like back in the early days, one of the things like the Stanley Cup. Look, they not too long ago just changed the playoff format in the NHL. So it's not like this is unprecedented for hockey. They've changed the way they've had playoff formats before, and it's like, oh, the Stanley Cup and all this stuff, the tradition. Look, the Stanley Cup used to be a challenge cup. It used to be, I think whoever had it would be challenged by some other team, and then that team would have it. And almost like wrestling in a way, or boxing. So so having the Stanley Cup playoffs or Stanley Cup tournament, fudge, why did I shoot it back there? Having the Stanley Cup tournament being something different, isn't that far-fetched of a proposal? I wouldn't mind if it was 1 through 16 or a March Madness style tournament instead of Eastern Conference. And I get the goal right there. Yoshi shaking up, couldn't get things together, and a nice goal for me thanks to Mario with the assist there. Boom. Okay, and we're done with wrestling. Wrestling is over, but I'm going to keep talking about this. So, I think the NHL could do a tournament like that. I wouldn't mind the NBA doing a tournament like that. LeBron James just had a conference call with a bunch of media members, and Tornado headed straight for Memphis right now. Dear Lord. That is not good at all. That is not good at all. Especially with all the stuff that's going down at the moment. That is awful. So, alright, so we're done with AEW. And we'll end it on that there. But I'm going to keep discussing this and playing some Mario and Sonic hockey at the same time. So the NBA, and LeBron was talking about how the season was going really well for the Lakers, enjoying themselves, all this type of stuff, but he still feels unfulfilled. There's an emptiness to it. Of course, he wanted another shot at a NBA championship, trying to add to his total, trying to get that fourth one there, or another one for the Lakers. And that's the thing, though. I agree with him that it feels empty not to have the Stanley Cup awarded or have an NBA Finals. I think a lot of people don't want that. A lot of people want the Masters to be played. A lot of people want Wimbledon to be played, even though they canceled that now. And I think they've announced that they won't even play it this year. So I wouldn't mind if the coast is clear during the summer, since there's not going to be an Olympics. So you can basically replace the Olympic tournament, which a lot of high-profile NBA players do want to go to. You can replace that with the March Madness style tournament for the NBA. The regular season ends. There's 30 teams in the NBA, so instead of a round of 32, I guess some of the top teams would get buys. To the next round, just to be fair for the regular season performance, and then you have the rest of the teams have it out round by round. You could have an underdog story where an NBA, or even if the NHL tried to do this, which I think would be madness in the NHL, you could have this tournament and you could have a underdog team that had a losing record maybe go on a run, have a Cinderella story. Who knows? It's entirely possible, but it'd be a very welcome thing. It's like a welcome thing. A lot of fan bases would have some hope. It would bring a lot of communities together. Imagine, and I'm gonna. Whoa, Peach did not handle that shot well at all. She got knocked around a bit there. I got a block shot there. That really hurt my knee. Imagine a long-suffering team in the NBA, and I could think of no better team like the Sacramento Kings. Imagine a team like that, just going on a run, bringing back some dignity to the franchise. It could really boost morale in the area. You could have a team. Think of like the New York Knicks. Imagine the New York Knicks, a team that has been just awful in every sense of the word, on and off the court. New York is suffering right now. Imagine them going on a run, like bringing the city together. Could you imagine that? That'd be an amazing story. The New York Knicks making it to the semifinal or even the final of the NBA 2020 playoff tournament. I don't know what they would call it, but something like that. That would be like I'm excited just thinking about that proposal. I bet the NBA would love that too. Of course, whether or not people can or can't go to it, I think a ton of people would watch it, and the morale would be tremendous. The morale boost. So those are some of my ideas as to what should be done. I still want a conclusion to the season. It's the reason why I don't like soccer. I don't like ties. I want a conclusion. I want a victor and a loser. And if it takes a month-long tournament to do it, then so be it. I think there's still a fair way to do it. Whether you want an asterisk next to that championship or not, for whatever team even comes out of that, who cares? This is sports. This is something, and it's one of the things that Derek Jeter harped on. Like, in the grand scheme of things, sports, like right now, doesn't matter. And he admitted to that. Like, when you put it up against the things that you have to prioritize, your safety, your well-being, your friends and your family's safety and well-being, putting food on the table, and making sure everything's all right. That there's a roof over your head, all that type of stuff. But there you go, Mario, nice. But sports also helps with the sense that there's a return to normalcy at the same time. And one of the things he harped on was, remember, Derek Jeter played his entire career for the New York Yankees, and he was with the Yankees during 9/11. And 9/11 happened, and it shut down sports. And then a week or so later, it comes back. I remember the legendary game between the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. The Mets being the first team back to play in New York City after it happened, and Mike Piazza's home run to put the Mets in the lead in that game. That's the stuff of legend. And so you can have something like that this year in 2020, after the pandemic, after countless lives were lost. You can have a sense of normalcy when you see the guys hitting the ice or hitting the field or hitting the court, what have you. Back to it, getting back on the asphalt in NASCAR, back to the green in golf, all that stuff. All that stuff would be something that'd be like, okay, I can see something, I can take my mind off of it, and this feels normal again. This feels normal, even though it's not normal. The 2 or 3 hours that this isn't happening, but for right now, this is normal, and I want that to come back too. So, and it'd be nice to crown a champion in all these leagues. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. As far as baseball is concerned, I think this is a grand opportunity to see what a shortened schedule would be like in baseball. Because one of the issues with that is, well, actually, I can not talk about that. So, Freddie, if you're still there, one of the things that you were planning, you had the expansion names for the teams for a hypothetical 40-team NFL. Now that there's a 17-game schedule, which I am still against. I know it's more football, and my relationship with the sport of football isn't the best especially compared to baseball, hockey, and basketball. And it's more not the fault of the sport itself, it's more the fault of the teams that I follow. And that being especially the Miami Dolphins, who have done so much to ruin my enjoyment of the sport. And the Florida State Seminoles, who for a time were doing really, really well and just aren't now. And so football isn't treating me kindly, so to speak. But hey, more football, more another week of football to discuss. Change to the playoff format, all that stuff, and more teams, more cities getting a professional team. There was I think there was like an article. I think it was an old article too, but assessing the viability of every major metropolitan area, or at least major city, in the United States, at least, and what their capacity would be to host professional Big Four team. So some cities, like I think Major League Baseball is one of the hardest things for a city to support, mainly because of the commitment to. Yeah, I saw a Reddit post on the NFL's the commitment to 81 home date schedule, which is whereas an NFL schedule, I mean that's what 8 home dates, and that type of stuff. It's a different thing. You know, I have to look at the whole thing with the new format and the schedule. I didn't really pay much attention to it. I know it passed. I know the CBA passed. I know the NFL Players Association is weak, but I haven't really looked into it because I'm a Dolphins fan, and we're not. I don't think there's any playoff format in which we're slated to be good, to be participating in anytime soon right now. Anyways, 40 teams. I'm just thinking about the cities that would support that first, because, well, I mean, you've got the abandoned cities, that's for sure. St. Louis, Oakland, and San Diego. So those would be 3 spots right there and then. So now you've got 35 teams. There's of course the push or the rumors of London being able to support a team with even through all the logistical things with regards to that. Although with a London team, I always felt that the smart thing to do would be to have them playing out one half of their schedule on the road and the other half of their schedule at home. You stayed in the U.S., okay. But with regards to the London team, because and the reason I bring this up is because the Alaska Aces, which used to be an ECHL team up in Alaska, that's how they played their schedule because of the logistics of having minor league hockey, especially AA minor league hockey, or no, single A, what do you want to call it? The lower tier minor league hockey compared to the AHL. Having them travel all the way to Anchor, I think they were in Juneau. Juneau, Alaska, or were they Anchorage? I'm not even sure anymore. Either way, they're in one of those 2 cities. Just to play the Alaska Aces up there. So it was easier for the ECHL to have the teams travel to Alaska for half of the season and then have the Aces on the road for the other half of the season. And that's how they played, and I guess the team doesn't exist anymore, but that's how they handled it, and I would assume the NFL could do it that way. You move the team to San Antonio. Well, San Antonio is a viable city. They hosted the Saints when they were on their grand tour because of Hurricane Katrina. So I could see San Antonio. So that'd be a 36th team. What other city is major that doesn't have? I mean, I could see Toronto having a team, just to have a team in Canada. They're big enough that they would. I don't know if Buffalo Bills would cry foul, even though they have all of upstate New York anyways. But I could see a Canadian team in like a Toronto team. That'd be another one. You already have 2 teams in LA, so you're not going to have. The Dallas Cowboys would never have another Dallas team, that's for sure. So a 3rd team in San Antonio makes sense. You'd have the trifecta, which is in the NBA anyways, of Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. I've always wondered, and I mean, there's been so many minor, maybe not minor, but other professional football leagues that have tried to have a team in Alabama. I don't know what the viability would be for Alabama to support a professional football team, and I find it really hard when you have the Crimson Tide being so popular and so successful there. Like, I can get, like, Columbus, Ohio. Columbus, Ohio has Ohio State Buckeyes and all that stuff, but the only team that's there are the Blue Jackets, and they're a hockey team, so it's kind of different. But how would... So, Birmingham was just on the outside of your list. Yeah, like, Birmingham has always been one of those, one of the cities that has often hosted a non-NFL professional league, because they're downgraded from Legion Field to a smaller new stadium. Yeah, the NFL would not have... I don't think the NFL would entertain a team playing in a venue that's lower than, I would say, 60,000 seats. Like, I wouldn't... I don't think that would be possible. They would have to... They would have to have 60+ thousand seats in order to sustain themselves. I'm trying to think of, like, the areas in the U.S. that would use a team. Now we've got, I mean, California's already got San Francisco and the 2 LA teams. Oakland's moved to Las Vegas, but I could see the NFL pleasing Oakland by having an expansion team back there again, even though the issue for Oakland to be given an expansion team would, of course, be they would have to build a new stadium. And the Oakland Coliseum isn't going to do it anymore. Heck, the A's have tried for so long to get a new stadium there. The Raiders, even though I think pretty much everyone in the NFL wanted the bright lights of Vegas anyways, especially with gambling laws starting to loosen. I think the NFL wants to get on the ground floor of that. So I don't see Oakland being back again, just for that issue alone. Because my thing with the A's, now that the Raiders have left, and now that the Golden State Warriors have left, is, look, tear down the arena right next door, start building your new ballpark on that land, and then once the new ballpark is open, once that's finished, you tear down the Oakland Coliseum. And then you get the view of the Oakland Hills, just like the Coliseum used to have, and the A's suddenly have a new home, suddenly reinvigorated. Boom. The A's are back. And we know that they can construct a team well with regards to their scouting and their analytics. Imagine them with a new ballpark and new revenue and that type of stuff, and spending a little more money. That'd be amazing. They might actually make it to the World Series and win it for once. See, St. Louis, San Diego, or okay, Freddie, Orlando, huh? I find it very hard for Florida to support a fourth team. Mainly because, I don't think the Buccaneers or the Jaguars, or maybe even you could throw in the Dolphins as well, would support having a fourth team here. I think they're like territorial rights and stuff like that, especially Tampa. They would be livid to be sharing Orlando as a new NFL city, and especially when the NFL has had recent trouble with competitiveness of their 3 current NFL teams in Florida. Let's see. So OKC. Okay, Oklahoma City is an interesting one. It's north of Texas. You'll have a natural rivalry with the Texas teams, especially like between Dallas and OKC. Um, you have a tradition of good football with the Sooners, even though they shouldn't be in the college football playoff anymore. The Sooners, OK State. So that you have that as well. I think they would, seeing how rabid they have been with regards to supporting the Thunder. I could see OKC as a good sports town and supporting their football team just as well, especially if it's the only professional team in the state. So you're gonna get 8 home dates, have a lot of people flocking to OKC just to see them. You have people coming over from Texas and nearby areas as well to go see an OKC team. I could see that. St. Louis, look, St. Louis was willing, and that was one of the things that one of the things that kind of pissed off St. Louis was they were willing to build a new stadium for the Rams, but Stan Kroenke and the NFL seeing the dollar signs in the eyes of moving the Rams back to Los Angeles, and thus left St. Louis. Although I think a lot of people would be pissed off, I think St. Louis lawmakers and businesses, and even a lot of fans, wouldn't mind having the NFL back in St. Louis. St. Louis is a major American sports city, currently NHL and Major League Baseball franchises there. They had the NBA, they've had the NFL leave them twice now. The Cardinals moved to Arizona, and now the Rams moved back to LA. So NFL's in some way, shape, or form has failed twice in St. Louis, even though I think the second time you couldn't say that they failed. It was more just the Rams were horribly mismanaged, and the NFL and Stan Kroenke just didn't give St. Louis the time of day when St. Louis tried their best to keep them there. And that's it. That's all you can say about that. That's all you can really say about that. So we'll see. What does SLC stand for? Portland. Now Portland's an interesting one. They've got Oregon State supported football. Nike is there, which I think Nike would absolutely love to be the uniform manufacturer of the NFL and have their own team in Salt Lake City. Okay, and have their own team in Oregon to basically go absolutely ham crazy with logo designs and jersey designs, and basically make that team the Oregon of the NFL. Although you could say the Seattle Seahawks are them, which would make sense for the Seahawks to have a natural rival with Portland. So I could see Portland too. They already have an NBA team in the Trailblazers. I think they've tried many a time to get Major League Baseball to move there. And there's always talks of NHL moving a team to Portland. They have an arena that supports hockey, and where the Blazers do play, so it's not out of the question for that to happen. I think I don't know if anybody saw the Atlanta Falcons revealed new uniforms for the upcoming season, and I have to say I'm not that big of a fan. Like, I get them changing. They haven't changing their, I guess you would call them the Michael Vick era uniforms. They've had the same uniforms for the longest time, but I don't know. I don't know what it is about their new uniform that just kind of doesn't sit well with me. I don't know if it's like it's a simple uniform. It's really not that crazy of a design, except for the whole. I think they have like a uniform that goes from red to black with a gradient finish to it, which is weird. So of course Nike did what Nike does with some of their uniform designs. I don't know what the Rams are going to do, but I have a feeling they're going to have something just as crazy because their current logo has a gradient design in it. So that's probably the new design fetish that Nike has right now with the gradients. And they did it on the helmets of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which the Jaguars finally changed back to normal and just a straight black helmet. The Buccaneers changed their uniforms back to something respectable, especially with Tom Brady joining the team. But I don't know. It's just the Falcons uniform it's a no for me right now. It's a no for me at the moment. I do like that they kept their black retro designed Dirty Bird uniforms as part of their current set, which is great. But I don't know. There's still something about the current set that's like maybe it's because it's not too traditional, but then again, it's at the same time it's not that I'm not a traditionalist with regards to uniforms. Sometimes I like the wacky stuff. Sometimes, like, look, the Marlins changed theirs from the Laureate era of 2012 to the current one of this past season. And although it was a bit of a difference with regards to the original design, which I still love, but I find this to be a happy medium between something that's abstract, like what the Laureate design uniforms were, and something traditional, or at least aesthetically pleasing, like the first set of uniforms to me. Although when the Marlins debuted during the 90s. In the 90s, there was a lot of weird experimentation going on with uniforms back then. Let's see, Sacramento. Now, that's a thing. Sacramento, and in Southern California, the Inland Empire, the area east of Los Angeles, there are so many freaking people there. Like a lot of people don't realize Los Angeles, even though it sprawls out, massive metropolitan area. Los Angeles is on the coast of California. So beyond that, California is massive. California is a massive state. East of Los Angeles, east of all that, is what they call the Inland Empire, and there are so many people there. There has been articles written that if any of the four sports, I think that area of California would be able to support all four of the major sports. They could have an Inland Empire NHL, NBA, MLB, and NFL team. There are so many people there that they could support it. And I think because of the LA teams probably claiming that as their territory and probably crying foul if a team was moved or at least an expansion team was given to that area, that's the reason why none of the sports have tried to place a team there. There are minor league teams in that area. There are minor league teams in baseball, basketball, and hockey. But nobody's had the guts to have a team, a major league team, placed in an area, even though they have the population to support it. So it's something that look, maybe years from now, decades from now, it could happen. But come on, Daisy, pass it to me. Come on, Mario, right here. Oh, almost beat Yoshi there. And Virginia Beach. Yeah, Virginia is also the Washington, D.C. area. Northern Virginia, because there was the time that period where Major League Baseball was shopping for cities for the Montreal Expos. Northern Virginia, not D.C., but Northern Virginia was vying for the Expos. That area too has a massive amount of people, and it's very possible, even though I would say that the DC teams would cry foul too if you were to move or have an expansion team in that area. I think there they have enough people to support a major league franchise of any sort. So yeah. There's a bunch of teams that are a bunch of cities that could support a team. Anyways, it's 10:30. Dear Lord. Oh well, I have to get up tomorrow morning because I have actual work to do. So I think I'll end this right now. And yeah. So anybody who's been watching, Freddie, thank you. Stay safe, and we'll see what we do with all this sports stuff coming in the future. A lot of speculation. So that's all we can do right now is speculate. So stay safe, everybody. Ciao.